Hi, and welcome back to our reading of A Child Shall Lead, the special holiday story found in my collection, Spider Stories, Tales of the Silent Pantheon. Jack trembled before the creature, but Anubis stood firm and brandished his staff at it. "This is my home, monster. The god you serve has no place here. In my name, and in the name of all the gods of Egypt that were, I cast you out." The Krampus laughed, its long tongue dangling out of its mouth as it did. Your gods are dead. This is my time, from the first bell of midnight mass to the last chime on Christmas Day. On this night, this Krampusnacht, nor door may bar me, nor demand or words keep me from what is mine to take. "Then tell me, Krampus," Anubis said, "what has the boy done to earn your punishment? What evil has he wrought upon the world this year?" "None." "Then why are you here?" "He is not faultless," the creature said, "but until today he has done no deed dark enough to call me. Then upon this day he committed a gravest sin. He has abandoned his family, fled from the love and warmth that are given on this day, when a father loved a world to give them his son. That is a sin worthy of me." "Is that what you come for?" the jackal asked. "Do you torment those that ignore the birth of the sun? Do you torment the Jews and the Muslims and the atheists as well?" Again, the Krampus laughed. "They choose not to believe, and so I have no power over them. But those that made a promise to celebrate the birth, to share in the love of families and reign on those promises, oh, those I may take, and I do gladly." Anubis brandished his staff again. "Those that you have come for before did not have what this boy had now. And what is that? A god to protect him. If you want to inflict your torment on this boy, you must come through the judge of the dead." The Krampus looked upon Anubis, snorted, then grinned his horrible grin. "Very well, Hund. Come and face judgment." The Krampus lunged to the two then, but Anubis shoved Jack out of the way. The boy skidded across the floor as Anubis brought up his staff just as the Krampus ended to bite him. The monster bit into the staff instead, and Anubis struggled to push the monster back. The jackal moved left and right, trying to dizzy the creature and gain some ground. He managed to push the Krampus back a bit, then a stinging pain shot up his leg. Anubis groaned as Krampus reared back and whipped his leg again with the stick. The thin wood bit deep into the jackal's leg, first bruising it and then drawing blood with a second strike. As Krampus reared again, Anubis managed to push him back and then pulled back hard on his staff. The metal rod shot out of the Krampus's mouth, bringing shards of broken teeth along with it. The horn monster moaned and stumbled back, grabbing its mouth as Anubis tried to stand on his wounded leg. The jackal gritted his teeth as he saw the blood flowing. If the Krampus could do this to a god, Anubis did not want to think about what it would do to Jack. So he pushed through the pain and stood up. Krampus snarled at him, reached behind its back, and drew a length of chain from the cage on his back. It cracked the chain like a whip and began trying to strike Anubis. The jackal dodged left and right as the chain shattered the counters behind him, sending bits of wood into the air. "You are strong, jackal," the Krampus said as it whipped again and again. "But I told you that this is my night. None can stop me, not even—" The Krampus paused, grunted, and then looked down. Jack was standing below the Yuletide demon, trying to puncture its skin with a piece of a broken tooth. The creature grinned, then reached down and grabbed the boy. "You are brave," the Krampus said as Jack struggled in its grasp. "A good trait. Perhaps I will not punish you as long as I thought." "Let me go, you stupid goat!" Jack cried out. "You smell like rotten ham!" "But there's still much wickedness inside you," Krampus said as it raised the chain. "I will have to make sure it leaves." Jack saw the chain coming up and without thinking slashed Krampus's face with a broken tooth. The creature howled and dropped the boy, clutching his face as it staggered back. Jack moved away from the beast as Anubis withdrew his ankh from his belt and aimed it at the Krampus. The black light of the underworld shone forth, and Krampus howled louder and louder as it fell under it. The chains and cage began to rust and then fall away to powder. Its skin and fur lessened and then fell away altogether, until the only thing left under the ankh's light was a pile of dust. Jack looked at the pile in disbelief as Anubis sheathed his weapon. You killed it," Jack said, looking at the pile. "For now." "What?" He was right. This is his night, his time. Creatures such as he and I cannot die then. Not when there is belief. "What are you talking about? That's a pile of dust. Look at it." Clink, 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 clink. Jack looked on in horror as the three bells began to push themselves up from the pile of dust, all chiming. He backed away quickly as Anubis grabbed him and pulled him up. We must hurry. To where? We can't leave. No, but Krampus has made one mistake. He has trapped me here in a house of death. My house of death. And there is one place here where I am just as powerful as he. Anubis began to run for the stairs, Jack following behind as the pile of dust began to change back into flesh and fur. Anubis led Jack into the foyer and then down a further set of stairs into the basement. Jack noticed the strange smells that permeated the air, but he said nothing, as Anubis led him into a white room with wheeled tables and tools. What is this place? Jack asked as he looked around. You are in a funeral home, Anubis said. This is where I prepare the dead. Jack's face went pale as he looked around fearfully. Anubis chuckled a bit and said, We are alone. And even then, the dead tend to be quiet. Okay, so why are we here then? Jack asked as Anubis produced some wrappings and began to treat his leg wound. I mean, it's a basement. It is where the dead rest, Anubis said, grunting as he tied the bandage. It is where I make my judgments. So it is where I am most powerful. Does that mean he can't get down here? I don't know, Anubis said, getting to his feet, but it is still our best chance. Jack watched as Anubis finished setting the wound and said, I thought gods couldn't get hurt. Gods can do many things, Anubis said, and I am not what I once was either. What do you mean? It is complicated, but there are no temples to my kind anymore, are there? Jack shook his head and then asked, And can you stop it? Don't worry about me, Anubis said. I've had much worse than the Krampus in my time. I wish I hadn't brought him here. That is not your fault, Jack. You didn't know. But he was right, Jack said, and so are you. I could be home right now having Christmas dinner and you'd be here safe and doing whatever you do on Christmas. Anubis limped over to Jack and put his hand on the boy's shoulders. Jack, I may not celebrate Christmas as you do, but even with all this, it is good not to spend one alone. Maybe if we get out, we can do something else, Jack said. Indeed, our survivor will be worth feasting over. Clink, clink, clink. The hairs on both God and boy stood on end, as Anubis pulled the boy behind him. They stood back to back, facing all directions as the bells echoed around them. The lights flickered on and off, and then they went out totally. You think you can hide from me? Hissed the Krampus. I am everywhere, even in your holy place. Then come and get us, Anubis said, or are you truly able to come here? There was silence, and then Krampus spoke again. You have vexed my work as few others have, Judge of the Dead. You have angered me. Yet I sense there is something else you have done. I smell something else along with rejection and anger now. I smell redemption, perhaps. Yes. Yes, I know that disgusting smell anywhere. Is that what keeps you away, then? Is this boy slipping from your grasp, monster? I will admit some can escape me. But are you willing to bet the boy can? Would you take that risk with a young life? I take no wagers with one that will not show his face. Not a wager. I offer trade, son of Set. What sort of trade? One where the boy goes free and gets a chance to redeem himself, and I get an even greater sinner. And who would that be? The Krampus chuckled his dark chuckle and said, By the greatest prize I have ever captured, Anubis. You. To be concluded.